This feels kind of sketchy. But anyway, this May 5th, and we just watched AEW Dynamite. But tonight, it was called Blood and Guts. And you know what? We don't care if your wrestling tights on the crotch look like a codpiece. Right, Dave?
More on Cody Rhodes later. All right, so the first match of the night, we got a big one. Kenny Omega teaming up with Michael Nakazawa, going against those two pieces of shit, Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And it might be a handicap match at first because Kenny says that he's not going to... Don Callis comes out and says Kenny's not going to show up, so it's Nakazawa 2-on-1. But before the bell, Omega hits a sneak attack on Moxley and those guys to even the odds.
Oh, man, it wasn't really a sneak attack. Those guys probably should have seen that shit coming, but they're both so goddamn stupid, it just wouldn't happen.
Moxley just doesn't care anymore. I think he's just phoning it in, he doesn't have the same lust for the business he once had, it seems, and I'm okay with that. Know your role, Moxley. And then what happens? Nakazawa, he's actually dominant pretty early once Omega comes in there. I think Moxley hits a pile driver on him for a near fall, but then Moxley and Kingston hit some stupid finishing move. It was dumb, and they're able to pin Nakazawa for the win.
I like to call that move the slobber knocker, and it made Dave laugh when we were watching. Look, we're going to call that move the slobber knocker, because you guys get it? A couple slobber knockers like Kingston and Mox.
Kind of slobs knocking each other
slobber
around.
Knockers,
yeah. And then after the match, the Bucks distracted the two slobber knockers, which allowed the Good Brothers to come in and beat them up. And then the Bucks came in there and they gave him a shoe beating and super kicks and
nice hats.
Yeah, Matt Jackson, he doesn't want you guys to like him. The whole cabana Hawaiian matching shorts and shirt, the gum chewing. It's good to see good heels. And they got a new young boy with them. Cutler is Kenny's young boy, it looks like.
Yeah, he's got a little face mask. It looks like it's from some horror movie, but it's probably because of sexual abuse.
Probably. And he was filming the shit for, being the Elite this week.
Because they are the Elite now. The Elite are actually coming out.
That's right. Speaking of Elite, tonight's episode is brought to you by Elite Lights. Everyone knows that tobacco and professional wrestling go hand in hand. Go to your nearest reserve and get your Elite Lights today.
What the hell was that? This isn't the 80s anymore, Dave. We can't do that on camera. Just
did.
like how Tully can't do
did.
Cocaine on camera.
So he has to do it off of camera for the past 40 years of his life.
Dude, we covered the one episode because remember in the picture, even we had it was all... Man.
In our defense, we didn't know he was suffering from a prior cocaine scandal, hitherto the one that we discussed. All right, so then they drop a one-winged angel on Kingston, and then they let us know that the Double or Nothing pay-per-view is coming up this month, May 30th, 2021. We will be covering that. It's going to be great. All right, and then we got a big match, or is it, coming up right now?
Vicious Cody Rhodes
versus QT Marshall.
You know, that guy who was going bald, but then they started pulling the hairs out of his butt and planting it in his head.
QT Marshall, more like PU Marshall. He stinks.
Man. He even pissed off Arn Anderson in that match.
He did, yeah. He's got the factory with him. He he has a weight belt of his own, I guess. And he starts lashing Cody. Then Arn Anderson gets involved, and the referee's got to drag him away.
Yeah, I had it marked down as Arn Anderson rips out QT's butt hairs, but he wasn't touching his butt. He was touching his head.
Yeah, there's some trunk play happening. What happens? Cody exposes QT. Yeah, they had to blur out QT's butt. And,
because there's there was no hairs down there because all the hair from his ass is on his head.
Ah, Jay said it. And then out of desperation, QT's able to hit the crossroads, Cody's move on Cody for a near fall. And then they're doing a bunch of tombstone pile driver reversals back and forth. Cody's able to hit it at the end for a near fall. Then he hits a crossroads for another near fall on QT. Then Cody's busted open. His eye got punched in or something.
Yeah, that was no accidental. Give me some red. That was like, oh shit, somebody fucked up a little bit.
Yeah, and then he nails the figure four. QT's got a tap out, and Cody wins. However, after the match, there was a surprise beatdown by Anthony Ogogo.
Surprise beatdown by Anthony Ogogo, even though he was pretty Avalon and stuff.
Don't drape the Union Jack over my prone body afterwards. But he did anyway. He did anyway. Then we got some words backstage. They're talking about Sting, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page. And Scorpio Sky's got this new attitude. I'm digging it. I'm liking it. Gotta get lined back up the camera after taking that punch. So it's a good attitude change. I'm liking Scorpio Sky again. Darby, though, they're talking about Darby and Sting. Darby attacks both those guys. He climbs up this ladder and coffin drops them. But then the number game's too great, and Darby takes the beats.
But he took the beats, and they was like, oh, I'll get that, and they had some camera behind footage. But before that, you guys remember last week when we were saying the riddle of Darby Allin couldn't be solved, and then in this episode, it was like Ethan Page was like, oh, like a bunch of marks, You guys fucking watch our show. That's all I can fucking say, and it fucking blows me away.
That's good. That's good. They can keep watching. That's awesome. Oh. And then, Darby gets thrown at the end. Darby gets thrown down a flight of stairs, and the whole picture-in-picture commercial break. They got to check on him. I think Darby's okay. I don't know. All right. So then we got another match. Favorite Jay and I's, Dr. Britt Baker versus Julia Hart. We don't know if she has ties to the Hart family dungeon. I don't know if I'm going to research it or not. Britt Baker's out there with Reba, and it's basically a squash match, Jay. What do you think?
Yeah, lockjaw squash match.
Yeah, so she hits that lockjaw, tap out, win for Britt Baker, who is number one contender to Akira Shida's AEW Women's Championship. I think it's going to be defended at the Double or Nothing on May 30th this year. And then we got Taz, and he's like analyzing like people's moves and shit, and he's got like an unhealthy man-on-man obsession regarding Christian Cage, and in a non-masculine way. And it's pretty creepy. It's pretty gross. Christian, just put this matter to bed, get rid of Team Taz, and move on to greater and better things.
Hey, man. Don't be so hard on Taz's sexual orientation.
I never said anything regarding it. I said it was creepy, it was weird, and it was non-masculine.
Yeah, exactly. Or who are you talking about? Are you talking about Hook Taz or Taz?
It's the dad, the older one, the one that sucks.
They all suck. Oh, there you go.
All right. So then we got a number one contender four-way tag team match. This is for the AEW Tag Team Championships. The winner gets a shot next week. And we got the Varsity against the Bucks. We got the Varsity Blondes versus Jurassic Express, and they got Marco Stunt with them, versus SCU and versus the Acclaimed. And the Acclaimed are freestyling. And at the end of the freestyle, he calls them a bunch of cucks. Then I was like, Jay, did he just call them a bunch of cucks? And then he says, yeah, I said it.
He said it, man. That's right. You heard us say it right here. Who said that on a show before?
Makes me want to do a freestyle.
Powerbomb should subscribe because we're awesome.
Yeah. And then what happens in this match? Yeah, so he calls him cucks.
There's just like constant chaos, and there's just too much going on because there's just too many people in there going on.
Luchasaurus chokeslammed one of those guys like outside the ring onto the ground. That was crazy. But then there's this was it the Better Than Meltzer pile driver? The
Better Meltzer by SCU, which was awesome.
Moonsault assisted pile driver onto one of those guys, and SCU picks up the win. So they're going up against the Bucks next week, I think they said. And if SCU loses, they're no longer a tag team according to them. They put a stupid stipulation on themselves. All right.
Yeah.
And then next week also we have the big IWGP United States Championship match. Moxley is the champion of that, and he's going up against Yuji Nagata.
Legend.
Next week. So you want to tune in for that.
So do you know what's kind of funny about this whole thing? As soon as Mox started talking with a belt in his hand, I fucking hated him. But without that belt, I like that guy. But as soon as you put a belt in his hand, I'm like, fuck this guy.
I think he's just coasting out the rest of his contract because he knows the gig is up and people realize he can't keep up. Okay, so then we have interview. Yeah, Tony Schiavone is interviewing Kenny Omega, and they're outside that cage set up for the main event. And Nakazawa's there, and he's got all the titles, but Kenny's holding the most important one, the AEW Championship.
Yes.
So there's like 4 titles on display, but they got a AAA Mexican one, they got the 2 Impact titles, and the AEW World Championship. And then they're saying that it's going to be Pac versus Orange Cassidy next week, and it's a number 1 contender match. So the winner of that match will have a title shot against Kenny at Double or Nothing. And then Orange Cassidy comes out, I guess, to confront Kenny in some weird, lazy way. And Omega is just not taking Orange Cassidy that seriously.
Why should he?
I know, exactly, right? I feel the same way.
Yeah, we're both fans of Cassidy in a sense, but
You're not there yet,
joke
kid.
compared to fucking Kenny.
That's right.
He's the god of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
That's even higher than the Prince of Pro Wrestling, Dave.
Yeah, he's Kenny Omega's the greatest professional wrestler in the past 3,000 years. Woo! All right, and then so then Omega steals Orange Cassidy's custom-made Ray-Bans.
Gives him
Because
Nakazawa.
because Omega invented wearing sunglasses. Had nothing to do with Ric Flair. It was all Omega.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega was like 6 years old in the 80s.
And then what do we have here? We got angry ringside words from Miro. And he gets a title shot for the TNT Championship next week against Darby Allin.
And you know what? We have an announcement of Dave J's Powerbomb about Miro. From now on, because of that toxic roid raging male, we test for steroids now. Right, Dave?
Oh, I didn't get caught.
Pee in this cup.
I can't.
It's just my hand.
Oh, gross. Yuck. All right. So, yeah, Miro sucks. And Kip Saban, he's like had to do surgery or something, they were saying.
You probably got carpal syndrome from being on Twitch playing video games.
Or just PTSD from being friends with Miro for that month or whatever.
God, I got PTSD from just having to deal with him. Like, I've hated that guy since day one. I'm like, look at that rangy cock.
All right. This goes into our main event. It's the Blood and Guts match. They have two rings connected to each other. It's been like that all night.
Which was pretty awesome looking.
Surrounded by a steel cage of a roof, so it's like the other company's cell almost. And there's some rules here. I think it's just like it's two guys enter. Like at first it's two guys, and every 5 minutes another guy comes in.
So there's always a team that's getting one advantage the whole time. Unfortunately, in this match, it was the Pinnacle.
That's right. The first two guys here were Sammy and that weird FTR bald guy, Dax Harwood, okay. And then Sammy's able to hit this crazy springboard cutter before the other guy comes in, which is Sean Spears, so he's the third guy. And it's a 2-on-1. He busts out a chair. Sammy's taking the beats. Fourth guy to come in is Ortiz. He gets a chair and starts doing some payback. Sammy does this crazy Spanish fly move. Sammy's busted open. Sammy does a bit of a botch, but those ropes are probably so greasy from all the blood and guts. Fifth guy that comes in is that Wheeler, the second FTR guy, Dax Wheeler, or Cash Wheeler. Is that his name?
Cash Wheeler.
Okay. And then after that, Santana comes in, and they got the dead president black and white face paint on. After that, Wardlow comes in. Then Hagar comes in, so it's Hagar and Wardlow for
Everybody
a bit.
wanted to see that. It was actually awesome because when they first met, they kind of like did this anime thing where they would come on in and they both be throwing up punches and like, whoa, get over. You're not doing it right. Let me control your arm.
I don't know what's going on.
Where they both hit each other. It was actually really cool.
It was great.
It was like Holy Dragon Ball or something like
Gotta
that.
get it in camera frame here. All right. And then after Hagar versus Wardlow, MJF is the second last guy to come in, right? This match doesn't even start until the final guy comes in. Final guy is Jericho. Ding, ding, ding. Match finally starts. It's already been 30 minutes. And Jericho's got Floyd that bad. He's beating up everybody. Inner Circle, very dominant. The ring is being torn to shreds. That pine, that wood is being exposed.
They had the safety mat part, sponsor mat,
crazy.
whatever, the thing that absorbs the blood.
Santana and Ortiz got two of those guys up for a pile driver. Sammy comes off the top rope, spikes them. They nail that wood, the
By
exposed
time in
ring.
this, there's like 4 guys all bleeding color from the head, man.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Sammy is able to hit that coast-to-coast move where one of them's got a chair set up on the other guy's face. Sammy comes from the one turnbuckle, jumps all the way to the other side.
Big,
drop
powerful
kick.
legs to do that, man.
And fork shot. Yeah, they got fork and they're nailing MJF.
Santana pulled it out from somewhere.
Fork.
Ah.
Yeah. And, then it's a 5-on-1 attack on MJF, which is great. MJF's bleeding like
Everybody
a pig.
wanted to see this.
Yeah, I did. Wardlow tries to help, but he ends up taking the beats. And then MJF's got to try to escape. It's getting too much. He climbs on top of the cell. Jericho's following him. Like, It's looking like Inner Circle's gonna be like winning this match. I think like MJF's in trouble.
It's like, oh, it's over. I thought it was just done. It was like just too much dominance, and just one guy taking on the entire Inner Circle.
He's got the Lion Tamer on MJF on top of the cell, on top of the cage, whatever you want to call it. But then MJF, what does he do? He hits that like low blow reversal or
He
something.
did, like, a little,
was it a hand?
Yeah, like some hand job.
What? Wow. So then he's able to hit that solid the earth arm. Stop. And then he's able to hit that solid the earth arm breaker on Jericho on top of the cell. He's not done yet. He starts biting Jericho's arm. There's blood everywhere. Then he's got the Dynamite Diamond Ring. He's able to hit that Diamond Ring shot onto Jericho on top of the cell.
Causes color.
MJF then threatens to toss Le Champion off the top of the cell. Sammy sees this. He's clearly concerned. The only way you can lose this match is to tap out or surrender. There are no pinfalls. What does Sammy do, Jay?
Sammy was a bitch. Jericho would have taken it.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing it. Sammy called it in. He said, we surrender. He didn't want to see his hero get thrown off the top of the cell. But then the Pinnacle win, and after the match, what do you think MJF does? Do you think he lets Chris go? He's like, oh, we won the match. I'm not going to throw you off the top of this cell anymore.
Can I take a guess?
Okay. No! He throws him off the top of the cell! And you... Oh, yeah!